Hi, and welcome to RTP Business Live. I'm Bob Collier, your host, and today we have a guest, Pam Goodman. She is the founder and president of K6Easy. Pam, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bob.
I want to find out a little bit about your background and how you got interested in this K-6 education level.
So I have always had a love of learning. My mom tells me that I taught myself how to read before I got to school. I was already into writing, so I skipped a few grades, and I just had a great passion for learning. And then I went to the State University of New York at Albany, go Danes, and I took summer school. So I still wanted to keep learning, and so my father called me the perpetual student, and I still am. I'm still learning and fascinated with how people learn and how people make connections.
A lifetime learner.
Yes, I am.
But that's a good point, how people learn. But before we tackle that, just in general, there's a lot of frustration with the school system, inside and out. They are frustrated with some of the things they have to do. The outside, we're frustrated with some of the things that have to be done. What do you do to help solve that problem?
So there are thousands of frustrated and overwhelmed students in our school system today. They're extremely bright, but they don't understand how they learn. So I'm educating parents on how their children learn so that they can teach them life skills at home, like how to handle frustration and coping skills and budgets, but they can apply those skills to the classroom and work with the teacher and watch their child blossom. A lot of very bright, frustrated children are multisensory learners and not just one type or one way. And once you educate a child on how they learn, you just watch them fly.
So it's a matter of opening that door and helping them understand what the tools they need to learn best. And speaking of tools, do you have any products and services? I think you briefly flashed up some book covers.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your products and services?
So we have easy-to-read guides for parents. They're written in English, and we're almost finished all of them in Spanish.
Muy bien.
Yes. And some of the books, for example, this book has downloadable tools. So a parent could have something they found in here that worked for their child. For example, I put 4th grade long division visually made simple. And it could be downloaded and given to the teacher and saying, this clicked with my child. And the teacher does not have to create new material. I've had many teachers tell me that they'll use this material for their other class members. So it's a wonderful tool that makes the connection between home and school. What worked for the child worked for the school.
So it's not just a child tool, it's not just a parent tool, it's also everybody involved in the education of that child.
So they're all on the same page.
Excellent, excellent. Let's get into some of those successes. I understand you've experienced some remarkable success with some of the children and families that you've worked with.
Yes, I've had amazing success. I love it. Children come and they are defeated and overwhelmed and perceive themselves as stupid. And I start with this book and say, let me show you how you're not. And I show them the strategy at an adult level. And then they go with it. And I, for example, had a child who was in 5th grade. He came, he was told by every adult that he could only read at a 4th grade level. He thought he could only read at a 4th grade level. Well, I could tell by the way he spoke he was brilliant. So I told him, no tests, just we're going to celebrate what we do know and not focus on those few words we don't know. And I taught him this strategy on reading, and he followed it, and he finished by reading a 7th grade book.
Wonderful.
He was voracious. The shame of thinking he couldn't read was gone, and his mother said he took off. The principal was noticing, the teacher noticed. The child had confidence. He knew he was smart, and I showed him by showing him how he learned. It was awesome. I love it.
So that ceiling of expectation was totally removed, and he could just run with and know how to learn.
Yes.
Excellent.
He told me later, he came and saw me a few times, said, you know what, I use those strategies everywhere. I use them at Boy Scouts, and I won. I use them here. So he took it and applied it to his world, which is even more exciting for me because how we learn is important, not just for school. You have to learn how at home and being in groups of people, and it affects your whole life. And
Absolutely.
so I was very excited to hear that he took what he learned and just used it everywhere. It was awesome.
We talked about being a lifetime learner earlier. That's a tool he's going to use throughout his life to make things happen. And,
and is not going to avoid reading anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wonderful. Let's talk numbers a little bit. How many students have experienced this kind of turnaround in the last couple of years?
I've had thousands of testimonials. I've have them documented on a website, Teachers Pay Teachers, where I've uploaded the tools before I had the books, and teachers had used them in classrooms and sent great results that these are working for them. I've had children come to my home. I've had people meet me on the street. I had a boy who said, as I was walking my dog, he said, "You know what? My mom bought How to Be the Best Student You Can Be." He goes, "I went from a C student to an A student," because he understood his job. Right. And everyone has a job at school. The teacher has a job, the student has a job, and the parent has a job. And my hope is that everyone understands their job. And it was very exciting. And another girl came up to me and said, "Miss Goodman, that strategy, I tried it and it helped me." And so all the time I'm finding people coming up to me, trying these multi-sensory strategies that are not just visual, not just auditory, not just kinesthetic.
So this is not really theory. It might have been tried once or twice. Thousands of people have benefited. Kids, parents, school systems, teachers in the schools.
I have adults.
You're hearing it from all angles.
I have adults coming up to me wishing that they knew this when they were in school.
I think I know the answer to this one, but are you confident that you can teach more parents and teachers how to use these tools with the success? I mean, is it repeatable?
Yes, I'm confident. I believe parents are teachers. I believe this is so important for a parent to understand how their child learns. Because, for example, if your child is not an auditory processor and you keep telling them to do something and then they don't do it, that creates shame and they can't please their parents. And so I think it's a nationwide phenomenon. We need to understand how children learn and how people learn, and respect that when we work with them. I think this is going to be a huge healing for our country.
You and I had talked once before, and I don't want to get us off topic, but you mentioned that the kids are so quick to pick up on the cues of the parents and teachers, both with the best intentions in mind, want the kid to do his or her best, and they're trying so hard that the cues coming back from them may be damaging to the child. Maybe damaging is a strong word, but it sends off the wrong signals to the child. Have you seen that?
I have never met a child who did not want to have their parents be proud of them, never want to impress a teacher, never want to be the smartest kid in class or the first one done. Never have I met one. And I believe that our government cares so much about our children that they're pushing accountability down to the teachers, and the teachers are pushing that accountability down to the children. And our children are feeling so much performance anxiety that they're not be able to learn in that type environment because there's too much pressure. They have their personal pressure. I want to impress people, but now I have to prove it with a test.
Mm-hmm. And there's all kinds of things going on in a test that aren't necessarily measuring what's been learned.
Well, and I've met many adults who said, that as a child, I didn't need to take the test to know I didn't know it. So that F really didn't do anything for me. Now everybody knows. And so that shame and that pressure, and you can't think when you're anxious. You can't think. And we need to learn from our mistakes. And how can you learn from your mistakes if an F, you keep getting Fs? So
absolutely. Well, we talked about learning. What's something new that you've learned and that you're working on?
So we're working on downloadable teaching tools. I would like to have our videos downloaded where a child could be in their room in private in case they've felt a lot of shame and they want to figure it out and watch it in private, or a parent could watch it in the office at lunchtime, or it could be downloaded in a classroom where a teacher could have a break and she could see these multisensory tools. So we're looking forward to doing 2 videos, Confidence in Reading, which is just a big boost for a child, and then mastered math facts, because it's a phenomenon. Children don't know their math facts in the United States. And then we want to do webinars and easy to read guides and any way to outreach and reach as many children as we can to empower them with skills and confidence. And
in the ways that they learn best.
Correct.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we've covered a lot of ground here. Any wishes, anything you want to share with folks that you want for them and to going forward?
Yes. So I have a little message for Ellen. Hey, Ellen, I know you're watching. We would really love for you to be our K6Easy teacher and have No Test Tuesday and do a lesson for America every Tuesday on how we learn. I need a little help. I'm doing Kickstarter. I've got 4 donators. I need you to help me, and I would love to be a part of it. And anyway, thanks, Ellen, for watching.
My guess is you're talking about Ellen DeGeneres. Would that be okay? Tell you what, Ellen, here's the deal. If you do that for Pam, we'll also interview you on our show. I know that's probably gonna sway the deal.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome, Ellen. We're looking forward to having you on the show.
Let's start our educational videos with a dance. How fun.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Excellent. Well, I know we've covered a lot of ground today, Pam, but is there anything that we haven't touched on that you'd like to share with folks that they need to know?
I have a tip for parents and grandparents. If you look your child in the eye and you tell them you're proud of them and they look down, that means you need to tell them more often. And it means there's some shame in their in something they believe. And if it's educational, I believe I can help. If it's something else, I don't know if I can help. But do that little science experiment. And if they look down, you need to tell them more often, because we need to be praised for who we are, not performance.
That's a great tip and something everybody can learn from. Well, Pam, we appreciate you joining us today. There'll be more information about how to get in contact with Pam at the end of this video. There'll also be a web page that'll have more information. So get in touch with Pam, find out about more information about K6Easy so you can give a child that you know the tools to learn and be the best that they can be. Thanks for joining us, RTP Business Live. We'll see you again real soon.